The glass windows of the city's tallest skyscraper glittered like shards of ice against the evening sun, but inside the boardroom of Han Group International, the air was suffocating. His pulses dropping, a panicked voice shouted. Men in white coats rushed around the long mahogany table where Han Jae-won, the youngest yet most feared CEO in Asia, lay slumped. His usually sharp gaze was dull, lips pale, breath shallow. He looked nothing like the man whose mere presence could silence a room. Assistants hovered near the door, whispering. Some executives exchanged looks not of concern, but calculation. The empire's king was dying, and the vultures were circling. Move aside. Let me through. The company's personal physician shoved forward, but his face darkened as he checked vitals. He's not responding. The transfusion isn't working. His body is rejecting every match we've tried. Impossible, barked one director, though his trembling hands betrayed fear. Get more blood units. We've tried, the doctor snapped.
He's rare type.
No compatible donor has been found. If we can't stabilize him in minutes, we'll lose him. The words fell like a death knell. Silence spread, thick and oppressive. Then came a murmur from the back, cold, greedy. If President Han doesn't make it, a man in a tailored suit cleared his throat. We must prepare succession. The board cannot collapse with him. Someone else smirked. Indeed. Business must continue. Their eyes, filled not with grief but hunger, darted toward Jae-won's weakening body. Outside the gleaming tower, unnoticed by the world inside, CEO Myri tightened her grip on the ragged shawl around her shoulders. Her stomach growled, but hunger was an old friend. She only wanted warmth tonight, maybe leftovers from the cafeteria if luck was kind. She was invisible here, a ghost among luxury cars and glass doors. But as she stepped closer to the building's service entrance, a commotion caught her ear. Sirens, footsteps, frantic shouting. Curiosity pulled her toward the noise.
Through the glass, she saw him.
The man every billboard worshipped, the man whose name the world chanted, Han Jae-won, lying pale and still on a conference table. A dozen men in suits stood around like statues, watching, waiting, as though measuring the moment his crown would fall. Her chest tightened. She didn't know him beyond the face on screens, but something about the scene, the cold betrayal in those men's eyes, made her fists clench. And then she heard it. No match. No blood. He's going to die. Check again, one executive shouted, but the doctor's voice was firm. We've tested every bank. Nobody fits. His body won't accept it. A cruel laugh echoed. So the empire ends here? Jae-won's eyes fluttered open briefly. He saw the faces around him. Faces of men he paid, men he trusted, and all he saw was greed. His lips moved, but no sound came. He felt himself slipping, dragged into a void. Alone. Is this how it ends? Myri's breath hitched. She didn't understand why her feet moved, why her heart raced. Only that something inside her screamed. She pushed open the side door and stumbled into the room. Heads whipped toward her, board members sneering, bodyguards blocking. Who let this beggar in? Someone spat. Get her out. But Myri's gaze locked on the dying man. His skin was ghostly, his breathing ragged. A fragile life about to be extinguished, while men in suits whispered of thrones. Her voice, hoarse but steady, cut through the air. Test me. The room froze. What? My blood. She lifted her arm, trembling but defiant. Test me. If you can't find a match, then test me. Laughter erupted. Absurd. She's filthy. Probably diseased. The doctor hesitated, glancing at Jae-won's flatlining monitor. Desperation warred with reason. We don't have time. Myri stepped closer, eyes blazing despite her worn frame. He's dying. What do you have to lose? Her words struck like thunder. Even Jae-won's fading consciousness flickered at the sound. Through the haze, his eyes opened just enough to glimpse her, a fragile silhouette, fierce and unyielding. Something stirred in him. A warmth, faint but real. The doctor's hands shook. Prepare her for a draw. No, one director snapped. This is madness. But Jawun's hand twitched, lifting weakly, pointing at her. His lips formed one word. Yes. It was enough. The room erupted into chaos. Assistants scrambled. The doctor rushed forward, and Myri was ushered beside him. She sat down, rolling up her sleeve with shaking hands, but her eyes never left Jawun's face. Hold on, she whispered, so soft only he could hear. And for the first time in his ruthless, lonely life, Han Jawun wanted to. The needle pierced her arm with a sharp sting, but Seo Myri didn't flinch. She had endured hunger that gnawed for days, winters that cut to the bone, nights when even the stars turned their backs. This pain was nothing. The doctor's voice trembled as he secured the line. We don't know if her blood will be safe. Just do it, someone snapped. The tube darkened as Myri's blood flowed. For a moment, the only sound was the steady drip of crimson into the transfusion bag. On the table beside her, Han Jawun looked lifeless, his skin cold, lips blue. Monitors beeped with eerie slowness. Each sound was a countdown to the end of an empire. Myri turned her head, watching his still form. Breathe, she willed silently. Don't give up yet. Not while I'm here. The executives watched with thinly veiled disgust. This is insane, hissed Director Choi. We're risking infection, scandal. Our CEO being tainted by a street rat. Another leaned closer, eyes glinting. If he dies, the shares fall to us. Let this farce play out. Their whispers carried, sharp as knives. Myri heard them all, but she kept her chin high. For once, she wasn't invisible. For once, she mattered. Inside the haze of unconsciousness, Jawun drifted in a dark void. He heard echoes, cold voices, greedy laughter. The weight of betrayal pressed down on him like chains. So this is death. But then, another voice. Soft, trembling, yet fierce. Hold on. The words cut through the darkness. Warmth spread in his veins, foreign yet strangely familiar. His body, which had rejected every other attempt, drank it in like parched earth after rain. Jawun's fingers twitched. Doctor, look. The monitor beeped faster. A line that had begun to flatten now fluttered, weak but stubborn. Gasps filled the room. It's working? Impossible. Myri sagged in relief, though her vision blurred. Her body was frail, starved, yet she forced herself to stay upright. Just a little longer. He needs more. Sweat beaded on her brow, her lips pale. The doctor noticed. We can't take too much, her body won't endure. Take it all if you have to, Myri whispered, her voice breaking. Save him. The doctor froze, stunned by her resolve. Jawun's chest rose faintly, his pulse strengthening. His eyes flickered open, blurry shapes forming. He saw her, her fragile frame beside him, hair messy, eyes fierce despite exhaustion. Who is she? For a moment, their gazes locked. Myri's lips curved into the faintest smile, though her face was drained of color. You're not dying tonight, she whispered. His throat tightened, but no sound came. Still, his heart, once stone, lurched at her words. Then Myri's body swayed. Her arm trembled, her vision went black at the edges. The doctor rushed to clamp the line. Enough. She'll collapse. The transfusion stopped. Nurses steadied her as she nearly fell, but Myri forced her eyes open one last time, searching Jawun's face. His chest now rose with a stronger rhythm, color returning faintly to his lips. Relief washed over her, fierce and overwhelming. She had saved him. And then, darkness claimed her. Who is she? One executive demanded, voice trembling with a mix of outrage and unease. A nobody, spat another. Some stray. But she just... Save the CEO, murmured the doctor, still staring in awe. The room fell silent. For the first time that night, the vultures had no words. Jawun stirred again, eyes opening wider this time. He turned his head slightly, searching. His voice, hoarse as gravel, rasped one word. Her. The doctor leaned close. Sir? Jawun's gaze was sharp despite his weakness. Find her. And then his eyes closed once more, but this time not in death, only in exhausted sleep. Myri lay unconscious on a stretcher nearby, her face pale, lips dry. Yet even in her frailty, there was something luminous about her presence, like a flame that refused to be extinguished. The executives shifted uneasily. For all their wealth and power, not one of them had saved their king. A homeless girl had done what they could not. And in that moment, whether they admitted it or not, the balance of power in Han Group and in Jaewon's heart had begun to change. The first thing Han Jaewon felt when he opened his eyes was heat. Not the suffocating burn of fever, but a warmth that coursed through his veins, steady and alive.
Alive.
He blinked at the white ceiling of the private hospital suite, sterile light glaring against his skin. Tubes connected him to machines that hummed softly, steady rhythms echoing his heartbeat. He was breathing.
He shouldn't be.
The last thing he remembered was the void swallowing him whole, voices whispering for his empire to collapse, greedy eyes watching him die. And then, a girl. Not polished, not familiar. Messy hair, hollow cheeks, eyes fierce like a cornered wolf. Her blood flowing into his veins. Her whisper, raw with defiance, "You're not dying tonight." His fists clenched against the sheets.
Who was she?
Doctors filed in, bowing, babbling about his miraculous stabilization. The board sent flowers, empty words dripping with false loyalty. Jaewon listened with ice in his gaze, but his mind was elsewhere. Finally, when the room emptied, he rasped a single command to his assistant. "Find her." "Sir?" "The girl. The one who saved me." "I don't care what it takes, find her." The assistant hesitated. "The hospital records don't have her name." She refused to give it. After the transfusion, she collapsed. When she woke, she disappeared. Jaewon's jaw tightened. "Then track every camera, every clinic, every alley in this city.
I want her standing before me."
Do you understand?" "Yes, President Han." But Jaewon barely heard the reply. His chest ached, not from weakness, but from the gnawing thought that he had owed his life to someone who vanished like smoke. Across the city, CO Myri stirred awake on a thin cot in a free clinic. Her head throbbed, her body weak, but she was alive. The nurse scolded her gently, pressing stale bread into her hands. "You shouldn't have given so much. Your body is malnourished as it is." Myri only smiled faintly, though her lips were pale. He needed it more.
The nurse frowned. "Who?"
"The man you saved?
He won't remember you."
Men like that never do." Myri lowered her gaze. She knew it was true. People like Jaewon lived in glass towers, untouchable. She was just a shadow that slipped through cracks. Still, she couldn't shake the memory of his eyes opening for a brief second, locking on hers. For one heartbeat, she hadn't been invisible. 2 nights later, Jaewon stood before his penthouse window, the city glittering beneath him like 1,000 lies. His reflection stared back, pale, but alive. Her face haunted him. He replayed it endlessly, the way she'd said save him as though his life mattered, when even his board had already written his obituary. Why would someone with nothing risk everything for me? For the first time in years, he felt unsettled. He, who never owed anyone, now lived because of her. And he would not let that debt go unpaid. Myri, meanwhile, sat beneath a bridge, tucking her thin blanket around her shoulders. Rain pattered against the concrete. Her body was still weak, but her spirit burned stubbornly. She didn't regret it. Not one drop. But fear gnawed at her too. If anyone discovered who she'd saved, if the world knew a homeless girl's blood now coursed through the veins of the mighty Han Jaewon, would they hunt her down? Scorn her? Use her? Better to disappear. Fate, however, had other plans. On the 3rd day, as Myri walked the crowded streets searching for scraps, sleek black cars rolled to a stop at the curb. Men in suits stepped out, scanning the crowd. Her heart stuttered. They were searching. Before she could slip away, a voice, low, commanding, cut through the chaos. "Stop." The world seemed to freeze. She turned, and there he was, Han Jae-won, alive, towering, eyes sharper than blades. Even pale from recovery, he radiated power that made strangers step back. His gaze pinned her in place, cold and burning all at once. For a long moment, no one spoke. The city noise faded. It was only them, two worlds colliding again. Finally, Jae-won's lips parted. His voice was rough, but unyielding.
You.
Why did you save me? Myri's breath caught. Her fingers clutched the hem of her ragged shawl. And yet, despite fear, despite the gulf between them, her chin lifted with quiet defiance. Because no one else would. Rain had begun to fall, thin streaks slanting against the city's neon glow. The crowd outside the subway entrance shifted uneasily, sensing tension thick as thunder. Han Jae-won stood rigid in the downpour, suit darkening, eyes locked on the frail girl before him. Her words still echoed in his head, because no one else would. No board member. No so-called ally. No family. Only her. His jaw clenched. He took a step closer. Do you understand what you did? Myri met his gaze, unflinching despite the storm whipping her hair across her face. I saved a man who was dying. Nothing more. Jae-won's voice dropped, low and dangerous. Nothing more? You gave me your blood. You bound your life to mine. Who are you really? Her throat tightened. She had prayed this moment would never come. Within minutes, bodyguards ushered them into the sleek black car. Myri tried to protest, but Jae-won's hand, ice-cold, commanding, closed over hers. You don't get to walk away, he said. The city lights blurred past as silence pressed heavy between them. Myri's fingers curled into her lap, nails biting skin. His presence filled the car, suffocating yet magnetic. Finally, she whispered. Why does it matter? You're alive. That's enough. Jae-won turned sharply, eyes flashing. Enough? I nearly died while jackals waited to carve my empire apart. And a stranger. His voice cracked, rare and raw. A stranger kept me breathing. That doesn't just disappear. His words struck her like a blow. But before she could answer, the car slowed, pulling up to his penthouse. The elevator ride was unbearable. The polished steel reflected their faces, his pale but sharp, hers gaunt and weary, yet unyielding. Two opposites chained by circumstance. Inside the penthouse, glass walls framed the city skyline, vast and glittering. For Myri, it felt like stepping into another world, a world she didn't belong to. She wrapped her shawl tighter, suddenly aware of her ragged clothes against marble floors. But Jae-won's gaze never wavered. Sit, he ordered, pointing to the sofa. She stood instead. I'm not your servant. Something flickered in his eyes, not anger, but a strange respect. Then tell me the truth, he pressed. Why risk yourself for me? People like you don't walk into boardrooms full of predators. You should have run. Myri's chest rose sharply. People like you. The words cut deeper than he knew. Her fists trembled at her sides. You think you know people like me? That because I sleep under bridges I have no pride? No reason? Her voice cracked but held steady. I saved you because I couldn't watch them, your own people, stand there and do nothing. No one deserves to die like that. Not even you. The silence that followed was heavy, electric. Jae-won stepped closer. The rain-soaked scent of the city still clung to him, sharp and intoxicating. His hand lifted, hesitant, as though against his own will, before brushing a strand of damp hair from her cheek. Her breath caught. His touch burned, fragile yet possessive. You remind me of someone, he murmured. Her heart slammed against her ribs. Not this. Please, not this. Myri, he said slowly, tasting her name for the first time. Have we met before? The world tilted. For years she had hidden, burying the truth beneath silence. But fate had dragged her back into his orbit, and now his eyes, sharp as glass, searched hers with terrifying clarity. She looked away, tears stinging.
No.
You've never seen me before.
A lie.
One that trembled on her tongue. The door burst open. His assistant stumbled in, breathless. President Han, we've found something. About her. Jaewon's gaze snapped toward the man. Speak. The assistant hesitated, glancing uneasily at Myri. Records years ago. She wasn't always homeless. Myri's blood turned to ice. Enough, she snapped, her voice sharp enough to shock them both. Don't say another word. Jaewon's eyes narrowed. What is he talking about? Her chest heaved. The room spun. The secret she had fought to bury clawed its way back to the surface. Finally, her voice broke in a whisper. Because once, Han Jaewon, I belonged to your world. The room seemed to shrink around them. City lights blinked beyond the glass, but inside Jaewon's penthouse, the air was razor-sharp. Jaewon's voice was low, trembling with a fury he rarely showed. You dared stand here in front of me and pretend you were no one, when all along, you had ties to my world. Myri flinched but didn't step back. Her hands tightened into fists at her sides. I didn't pretend. I left that world behind. I buried it. Until fate, cruel fate, threw me into your path again. Jaewon's chest rose and fell, his every breath controlled violence. Who are you, Myri? What did you bury? For a moment, her gaze broke, drifting toward the glittering city as if it could shield her. But her voice was steady when it returned. Once, I wasn't a nameless girl on the streets. I had a family, a future, everything money could buy. Her lips trembled. And I lost it all, thanks to the kind of people who sit at your table. Jaewon's fists clenched at his sides. The boardroom. Betrayal. Predators.
He knew too well.
Which people? His tone sliced like glass. Her eyes flickered, pain flashing like lightning. Your enemies. Maybe even your allies. And if they know I'm back in your life, they won't rest until they've destroyed me again. The words hung between them. Jaewon stared, the pieces refusing to fit. She wasn't just some savior in the subway. She was woven into the very fabric of his empire's shadows. He stepped closer, voice softer now, dangerous in its restraint. Why didn't you tell me from the start? Myri's throat tightened. Because I knew what you would do. You'd dig, you'd demand, you'd drag me back into a world I swore never to touch again. I just wanted to disappear. His eyes darkened, unreadable. Then, unexpectedly, he reached forward, gripping her wrist. You saved my life. That means you don't get to disappear. His words were almost a growl. You're mine now, Myri. And I protect what's mine. Her breath caught. Anger, fear, and something dangerously close to longing surged through her veins. Before she could respond, the penthouse phone rang, its shrill tone shattering the fragile silence. Jaewon snatched it up. His assistant's voice crackled through, frantic. Sir, we have a problem. News just broke. Someone leaked footage of the subway incident. Of her giving you blood. Myri's face drained of color. Jaewon's eyes sharpened. Who released it? We don't know yet. But the press is already circling. And, sir, there are whispers she's not who she seems. Old records are resurfacing. His grip on the phone tightened, veins standing out. Shut it down.
Now.
Yes, President Han. He hung up, turning slowly toward Myri. Her secret was no longer hers alone. Myri backed away, panic in her eyes. This is exactly why I didn't want to stay. They'll twist everything. They'll hunt me again. You don't understand. Jaewon caught her by the shoulders, his voice fierce. Then make me understand. Her tears burned, spilling over despite her pride. Because once, I was the daughter of a man who dared to defy your world. And they destroyed him for it. They took everything. They left me with nothing but scars and streets. The confession ripped free like glass through skin. Jaewon froze. Shock rippled across his face. Pieces clicked into place. The whispers of a fallen tycoon, the mysterious collapse years ago, the daughter who vanished without a trace. You're that girl. His voice broke on the realization. Myri turned away, shame and fury twisting her features. Now you see why I can't stay. If they know I'm with you, if they know I gave you blood, they'll use me against you. And I won't survive it twice. For a moment, silence swallowed them whole. Then Jaewon's jaw set, sharp and immovable. Then let them come. His voice was ice and fire both. I'll burn down anyone who touches you. Her heart twisted violently. He was dangerous, reckless, powerful, and he was promising her the very thing she had lost, protection. But before she could answer, a crash sounded from the building below. Sirens wailed. Jaewon's phone buzzed again. The assistant's voice was panicked. Sir, it's not just the press.
Protesters.
Paid agitators. They're outside your tower chanting her name. Someone wants her exposed, destroyed right now. Myri's body shook. It's starting all over again. Jaewon's gaze snapped to hers, fierce and unyielding. Then you stay here. With me. Because this time, Myri, his voice dropped, every syllable a vow. I won't let them win. But in the shadows of the tower across the street, a figure lowered binoculars, a smirk curling on his lips.
She's alive. Perfect.
Now we know how to break Han Jaewon. The boardroom lights glared down like an interrogation chamber. Outside, the tower's lobby shook under chants and camera flashes, but here, inside, Han Jaewon's enemies waited like wolves. At the center of the long glass table sat Myri, flanked by men in suits who sneered as though her very presence tainted the air. This is her. One director spat. The homeless girl paraded in the press as your savior? No wonder the empire is collapsing into scandal. Jaewon entered without a word. His presence froze the room. Dark suit. Sharp eyes. The very image of a man risen from death, yet more dangerous than ever. He set his hands on the table, leaning forward. Choose your next words carefully. But Myri beat him to it. I'm not ashamed of where I came from, she said, voice trembling but strong. Yes, I was homeless. Yes, I bled for him when no one else could save him. And I would do it again. Because life isn't about polished titles or spotless shoes. It's about humanity. Something this room seems to have forgotten. A stunned silence followed. The board members exchanged uneasy glances. No one had expected the girl they branded nothing to strike like fire. Jaewon's chest tightened. She wasn't hiding anymore. She was standing tall, even in front of the very people who once destroyed her world. One of the older directors smirked coldly. Bold words, girl. But you forget, we know exactly who you are. The fallen tycoon's daughter. The stain on our industry. And now the weapon that will bring Han Jaewon to his knees. Myri's hands balled into fists. Jaewon's voice cut like steel.
No.
The weapon that will burn you instead. With a sharp gesture, he signaled his assistant, who slid a folder across the table. Inside, records, transfers, contracts. Proof. Jaewon's voice was ice. While you were busy digging up her past, I dug up yours.
Fraud.
Insider trading. Secret accounts hidden in overseas shells. You wanted a scandal? You just handed me the match to set you on fire. Faces drained of color. Chairs scraped. The wolves had been cornered. Myri stared at him, wide-eyed. Not the ruthless CEO, but the man who, for her, had chosen war. The board dissolved into chaos, shouting, scrambling. But Jaewon ignored them all, eyes fixed only on her. He stepped forward, lowering his voice so only she could hear. You said once that being near me would destroy you, that my world would crush you a second time. His hand hovered, trembling, near her face. Tell me, Myri, do you still believe that? Her throat tightened. She remembered the subway. His lifeless body. Her blood rushing to save him. She remembered his fury, his protection, his vow. Slowly, she lifted her chin. Tears gleamed in her eyes, but her voice was steady.
No.
I believe you're the only reason I survived at all. Something inside Jaewon shattered. His control. His walls. All of it. He cupped her face, pulling her against him in front of the entire boardroom. Their lips met. Fire. Desperate and undeniable. Not CEO and homeless girl. Not predator and prey. Just two souls who had bled for each other, finally claiming what the world tried to deny. Gasps rippled through the room, but Jaewon didn't care. When he broke the kiss, his voice was raw. You saved my life. Now, let me spend the rest of it saving you. Myri's tears spilled freely, but this time, they were not from fear. Then don't just save me, Jaewon. Let's save each other. The glass walls around them reflected a new picture. Not scandal, not shame, but rebirth. Later that night, as they stood together on the penthouse balcony, the city lights stretched like constellations at their feet. Myri leaned into him, whispering, "The world won't stop coming for us." Jaewon's arm tightened around her waist. His eyes burned with promise. Let them come. I already died once. What more can they take from me, when I've already found the one thing worth living for? She turned, meeting his gaze, her own heart steady for the first time in years. And in that fragile, dangerous peace, they kissed again, two broken lives stitched together, daring the world to try and tear them apart. But across the city, in a darkened office, a rival CEO watched the footage of their kiss replaying on every channel. His smirk was razor-sharp. So this is how Han Jaewon bleeds. Very well. Let's see how long his savior can survive in my game. The war had only just begun.